In my review of episode 4 of Star Trek Discovery, I commented that the villains of this season, Moll and L'ak, were rather two-dimensional. Didn't have a lot of personality or background to them. Be pirates out for a buck, and that didn't make a good bad guy. And honestly, I kind of wondered, maybe they try to flesh that out. Maybe I kind of wish they would to give some substance to the story. Yeah. I wish they had done that.
You poor damn fool.
Well, they did. They did. And honestly, there's only one way to describe episode 5. Mirrors.
Blaster!
As I've been doing with my reviews lately, kind of think it's important to look at the writers. Why? Well, it's simple.
Who's to blame? Who's to blame?
Yeah. Whose fault is this? Who are we blaming? Well, first off, one of the writers' name is, what do we got here? Joanna Lee, who has 6 shows under her writer's credit, starting off in the mid-2000s with a game show called Power of 10. She then wrote, as a staff writer, a bunch of episodes for Royal Pains. Also wrote, was story editor on Scandal, was that ABC show. 17 episodes of The Good Doctor. I think that's the autistic doctor show on CBS. 4 episodes of the new Charmed series. Did that even last a season? I don't know. And this is her first episode of Discovery. Not a hell of a lot of sci-fi experience there, but yeah, whatever. So, everyone's got to start somewhere, right? The other writer on this show was Carlos Cisco, who started not much at East Los High. I don't know, I guess it was a Hulu show. Did a show on something called Black Demon. Is that a movie? Whatever. And apparently wrote 14, is involved in writing 14 episodes of Discovery from season 4. So he's got some experience in writing crap. And yeah, it's kind of what they wrote. Once again, an overly stuffed episode with 4 separate storylines. Ultimately, what does that mean?
That is one big pile of shit.
So we're back on our fetch quest.
We are on a quest.
After that brief diversion from the last episode. And the Discovery's chasing Moll and L'ak, chasing through a wormhole, blah, blah, blah. I'll get to that because that's one of the second main storylines. The first one I would tack as a rather address is this one involving Culber and Tilly. For some reason, Tilly has to go into sickbay to reroute an EPS conduit, something, and she notices Culber acting weird.
Hey, is everything okay?
Yeah, I'm fine.
Basically says, well, if you want to talk, we'll talk. That's it. That's all we get. Until the end of the episode, when they're in their version of 10 Forward, I don't know what the hell it's called on Discovery. And they sit down at the bar, and Culber talks about, having died at one point, come back to life, being inhabited by a trill, having all these experiences, and he's kind of experiencing a spiritual crisis. And until he recognizes that and says, well, if you ever need to talk to me, you can talk to me.
Thanks for noticing, Doc.
Are you here to take me up on my offer? Because I'm all ears.
That's it. That's that storyline. I guess they said, you know what? We got 3 minutes here. We got to fill use of Culber for this episode. So let's do this. I don't know.
It's moronic, a complete waste of time.
The other short storyline in this episode involves Commander Rayner. So Burnham goes off on an away mission. She takes her not boyfriend Book to go investigate the wormhole. Leaves Rayner in charge. And she thinks that he's hesitant to take command.
When's the last time you took the con from another captain?
Couldn't say. Been a while.
Yeah, I don't get this because literally Burnham has been a captain for maybe 2 or 3 years. If you go back and look the entire history, she's maybe been in Starfleet 10 years. And I think Raynor's been in Starfleet over 30 years. And she's lecturing this guy who's probably been a captain a lot longer than her about how to be in command.
That doesn't make sense.
Just stupid. Regardless of that, there's a little bit in this episode of Raynor trying to interact with the crew, trying to learn how to work with them. Because, you know, he's kind of a fish out of water and he needs to learn how to be collaborative because that's what Captain Mikey's all about. I still kind of like the character of Raynor. I think he would end up being like a good foil for the crew. He's the most Starfleet officer we've seen, especially on this ship. But he just kind of falls in line. And not much is given to the storyline. So, yeah.
That was a waste of time, wasn't it? Getting my hopes up like that?
All right, the quest storyline. Yeah, doing the quest storyline. Not the other one, the quest one before that one. So, we've tracked Moll and L'ak to what appears to be a wormhole in space, which honestly kind of looks like a giant puckering butthole.
Opening is collapsing and expanding due to matter-antimatter chain reactions likely caused by the burn.
Mikey and her boyfriend Book take a shuttle in, and once it's apparently like extra dimensional space, interspace, whatever, and inside they find Moll and L'ak's wrecked ship and another ship, which is much more intact.
How did it end up in interdimensional space?
I don't know.
The ISS Enterprise, which some reason Book recognizes.
ISS? It's Mirror Universe.
Yeah, he recognizes it and says Mirror Universe. I don't recall ever the Mirror Universe in story being referred to as Mirror Universe. Maybe it happened in Discovery. I know that like a good portion of the show involved mirror story timelines. I think when you go to Star Trek Prime, original Star Trek 66 to 2005, you have maybe a total of 8 or 9 stories that actually had a mirror universe crossover. Discovery exceeded that in only 5 seasons. Great job, guys.
Yay!
So they have the ISS Enterprise. Moll and L'ak have taken refuge on there. And I guess that's where the clue is. So Book and Burnham go on board. They track down Moll and L'ak to the sick bay where they have a brief firefight. Somehow the firefight activates some force fields, which results in L'ak and Burnham being trapped in sick bay while Moll and Book are outside. So Moll and Book have to go and figure out a way to, free their friends from sickbay. During this time, Book decides this is the opportunity for him to try to reach Moll.
I really do want to help you, okay?
Says the man who took my father's name.
Make a connection because her dad was his mentor.
He left you and your mother. I also know that staying away was the hardest choice he ever had to make.
We end up getting some not very shocking or surprising backstory with Moll, how her dad abandoned her.
Uh-oh! Someone had some daddy issues.
Yeah, she hates him. Do you see the depth of the storyline? Is any of this surprising to you? No, it shouldn't be, because it's very trite. So they go to the bridge to try to sort this out. Burnham and L'ak are in sickbay, kind of having a face-off. Ultimately, they get into, a fist fight, and kind of results in basically Burnham going WWE on L'ak. Yeah, she literally lifts him and throws him through the air. Like she's, I don't know, freaking Bianca Belair or something. I don't know, Becky Lynch. L'ak is like a 6 foot tall, 225 pound dude. And she just throws him in the air? Yeah, okay, that makes sense. The force fields come down, and it turns out that L'ak got stabbed in the process, which, sets Moll off. The ship is starting to fall apart. They have to get out of there. Burnham recovers the clue and she and Book race off to the bridge. They're able to communicate with the Discovery and keep the wormhole open long enough to bring the ISS Enterprise through. So while they've done that, Moll and L'ak escape off on their own. They've recovered a piece of the clue. On to the next clue.
Great work today. Way to go, team.
All right. The crux of this whole episode. Moll and L'ak. Clearly not enough. Yeah. This is perhaps one of the most painful storylines I've seen recently on any show. So Moll and L'ak are basically cast as star-crossed lovers. This is 32nd century Romeo and Juliet, separated by class and privilege, issues with families, and yet they find each other.
Tale as old as time.
Yes, Beauty and the Beast, I guess. Whatever. Basically, here's what happens. Let's mishmash Romeo and Juliet, The Mandalorian, Beauty and the Beast. Because that's apparently all our writers know. They take whatever they've seen as kids and use it now. So let's start with Moll. I finally realized what she is. I thought she was, she reminded me of Shin from Ahsoka. Also a little bit of Pris from Blade Runner. No. What she is a bad Harley Quinn cosplay.
Harley Quinn, nice to meet ya.
She is excessively snarky. It does not fit this Star Trek universe.
Got other deliveries to do. Am I supposed to be trembling at this point?
Seriously, it's like, I just want to be so badass that all my comments would be oddly witty, sarcastic, biting. I'm just too edgy for you to get.
Hi, I'm Moll. I like Latinum and long walks on the beach.
This is terrible. This is lazy. And they think that these writers think this is a character. So our character Moll, Harley Quinn, whatever, is basically a courier, and she's delivering stuff to different races, alliances, whatever, throughout the galaxy. She's delivering to the Breen. Now, if you remember Star Trek lore, the Breen showed up in Star Trek Deep Space Nine. They allied themselves with the Dominion and basically look like Leia dresses Bausch from Return of the Jedi. They're back here now. They've modified the costumes a little bit so they don't look as much like Bausch, but they're still the same idea. So she's basically skimming money from the Breen, and she gets found out by L'ak. L'ak, it turns out, is on the outs with the family. He is related to the Primarch royalty in the Breen family, but guess he's done something wrong.
Rumor has it, the Primarch's nephew doesn't fit the mold around here, has been demoted to shuttle bay duty.
I do think he may have some developmental issues because of the way he acts. So for some reason, though, Moll gets who he is. She knows who he is, and kind of starts a thing with him.
Sure you don't want to check my ship again? Make sure that I didn't smuggle any triples on board.
I wish I could.
I guess this is flirting. She brings him in on his scheme, her scheme, and along the way, they start making out. We also learned that the Breen have two faces. See, they have the face that's behind the mask, kind of like the Mandalorian does. And then they have the face when they take the mask off. So when they have the mask on, basically they look like a gummy bear, a jelly baby. I don't know. It looks like fucking gelatin. His face looks like gelatin. I don't know what this is, but that's when the mask is on. When he takes the mask off, he turns into what he is now, and that's what he does. He reveals himself to Moll. We don't know why. She shows him affection, I guess, and he's like, "Oh my God, someone likes me."
Because I would rather die than be separated from her.
Oh my God. This literally makes the CW look like fucking Shakespeare.
That's an understatement.
They continue to have their random meetings. They hide behind some cloaking field where they hook up, make out. And eventually, L'ak's uncle, the Primarch, leader in the Breen, finds out about it.
Who's that?
My uncle.
He comes and confronts them all, and, well, shit goes down. Oh, he doesn't kill his uncle, but he wounds him, and basically gets a bounty on his head. So now he's got this Breen bounty. Moll's also got the Breen bounty, and they're bound together. I don't know why. I don't know why we're supposed to believe this relationship. I said before the characters were two-dimensional, and I feel like that's giving them too much credit now, because nothing that happens is believable. There's no reason to believe these two individuals have connected. All I know in the end is, like, they are complete codependents on each other. This is perhaps the worst fucking relationship ever in Star Trek.
Worst couple ever.
What? I don't get it. I just don't get it. These are our bad guys?
What bad guys?
They spent all this time trying to build this up in this terrible, I guess this is what the writers think romance and relationships is like. I don't know the age of these writers. They seem young, but holy crap. Y'all kids need some help. If you're like 30 years old or something, because you're lost. And if you think that's what relationships is like, fuck, we got problems.
Retardation and emotional difficulty.
Oh, so yeah, total mess of an episode. Total piece of crap.
That's putting it mildly.
I actually feel dumber for this episode. I don't know what's next. I mean, thank God it's halfway through. Thank God it's halfway through. I gotta go to the liquor store. I don't think I have enough.
Looks like I picked the wrong week to quit sniffing glue.
All right. Questions, comments, witticisms down below. Click all those buttons. You know which ones to click. I guess I'll see you guys next time. Episode 6. Oh, God, what's going to happen next?
An unmitigated disaster.